He's going to be Santa in a couple of days at work.
Fuck off. I'm not being fucking
Are they
Santa.
going to have anyone go in that little Santa's shed? Right.
We had a complaint about that.
Oh, really?
One of the colleagues was in there, and she was in there tied up, and the door opened. A small child's there, and he goes, "Oh, where's Santa?" And she just go, "We ain't having him this year." Oh, brilliant! So, I'm TheSuffolkRam.
I'm Middlemestier.
Don't let the video footage deceive you. We've still left it out of focus.
Yeah.
No, we just got smeary shit over the lens.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Welcome to our Christmas thingy bob. I am
2 days Christmas. Jesus.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it will be because it's also be. Well,
I mean, it will be.
It's the 22nd.
Jeez, yeah.
So, oh yeah. By the way.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh look, it's getting red.
Yeah, he's digging his bells.
My little reindeer.
Yeah.
Stylised reindeer. Look at him.
Yeah.
He looks like a little turd. There you go. So, where we are. Christmas. Yay.
What have we got scheduled for this fine day?
Have you said your name yet?
Yeah, I said TheSuffolkRam.
Oh,
You weren't listening. But if you want, we'll do it again. Hello on the TheSuffolkRam.
I'm Middlemestier.
Skazz, yes.
I don't think you did, you know.
He just really enjoys it. That's his favourite part of the podcast.
Yeah,
That
that's
outro.
the only reason.
Tinsel back on.
That's the only reason I come here.
Right, so, games we've been playing.
It's not as bad as was it last year when I couldn't end up seeing. Or was that the year before when I ended up getting blinded by tinsel?
Yeah, it was one year when we then Bard turned up and I wasn't expecting him. I didn't bring enough tinsel. And
That was the more I couldn't see a goddamn thing, so I was literally a head covered in tinsel. That was fun.
I'm in the podcast.
No! Come back.
I'm in the podcast where the shirt I was wearing and your green screen was about the same colour.
That was a good one.
I just disappeared.
Wasn't that the one when Kim turned up?
Yeah, it was as well. We used to have green screen. We were so professional at one point. We had a green screen.
Since the old ones, they used to be quite good, you guys.
I know, we were.
Yeah,
We've really gone downhill.
The one with the multiple microphones and the actual audio.
Table stuff and all that.
Budget
Yeah,
cuts.
because I actually fucking did the work.
budget cuts, you see.
I did think, maybe.
I was an expensive technician to have about, you know.
Yeah.
That and they didn't like the fact that I actually made them do the things properly.
Yeah,
Like we haven't done sinus track in the last couple of
That's a good point. I'll do it on the end. That's good. Well, when we get to the end, I'll do it right. Stop, quiet, white. I'll edit this bit out.
Oh, okay.
Shut up. Right, mind me to edit that bit out. No,
good for every time I'm supposed to do that before.
No, it's the stuff. Do you remember when I deafened you on the recording?
There's only a few of those times.
Yeah. No,
Mate, I spent weeks working on some of those. It was a fucking nightmare. In fairness, some of those podcasts shrank a fair bit. And we almost came across as PC in a few of them.
we did. We did. Right. So, what games?
I'm good at my job.
So, minimise. What games you played the last 2 weeks when we've been off air?
If you remember from 2 weeks ago, I had the whole Amazon.
Yes, I do remember vaguely telling about that.
Strike back for a second time because it's in the mail 2 weeks and 2 days ago. I got my PS1 Classic. Yeah.
Has it caught fire yet?
No, but you were talking about the power thing, right?
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. So it has a USB power thing, but it doesn't go in the back of the TV. You need to use a plug. Luckily, I don't have my phone anymore, so I used my Apple.
I was going to say, quite a winky thing.
So I just used that. Starting off, kind of crappy. Anyone who plays the NES has that shitty long, that really short power, controller. You get the 20 games. 15 of them are, why did they choose those games? There's a thing released recently of the games that were almost on there, like Vagrant Story was talked about,
Kelowna, and good list.
Yeah, like Suikoden and all that kind of stuff. But
that wasn't 1 or 2 that they were going to put on there. 1, wasn't it?
Yes, Suikoden. Yeah. And the games that have ended on there, it's digital pad only, right? And it's got Rainbow Six. And it's just
but wasn't that originally on a D-pad?
Yeah, but
on PS1.
Possibly, but it's completely unplayable now. Because the way you have to move
you expect to play other things.
Yeah, you just can't figure out a way to do it. So it's just, why would they put that on there to begin with? It's just complete
Yeah,
nonsense.
I know.
They
rushed it, mate.
Yeah.
They didn't develop any of the software on it. From what I heard, it's running PCSX Rearmed, which is the emulator we've been running on the Raspberry Pi since 2012.
Half the games are PAL, which is obviously you don't expect
In
that.
this day and age, no.
Yeah, and the other half, like some are NTSC, but it's completely random. There is a way to hack it to make it do NTSC, but it's just.
From what I understand, it's plug in a keyboard and press escape.
Yeah, yeah. That's it. Yeah, you put a keyboard in. Yeah, and it doesn't. There's no filler options. You can't have like. There's nothing. There's no smooth over. Obviously, you wouldn't have scan lines for PS1 kind of era necessarily, but there's nothing. You can't add anything. I suppose you could do, but.
Yeah, they're running.
CRTs and stuff, but there's none of that on there. There's no options to change any of the picture or anything. And the games just look.
It's basically running a very, very, very raw PCSX rearmed install.
Yeah.
You could have got the exact same thing on a Raspberry Pi Zero for a $5.
Yeah, the games just look because they haven't aged anywhere near as well as like a Super Nintendo or anything. Like the Destruction Derby. Ooh, that's ugly. Siphon Filter looks so bad it's almost unplayable.
A lot of people have complained about the playability of a lot of these games and the way they looked. And I looked at some of them when these looks at a couple of American folks I know were complaining about. I was like, they look exactly like they did when they came out. They don't look. They could have done something to make them look better. I was like, are you kidding me?
You can do
those games look like shit.
Isn't that kind of the point? Isn't the point they're meant to be like the original
Yeah, but they were
games?
complaining because it was an open source emulator that they should have done something to make them prettier. So
the only issue for me is why not make them all the NTSC versions, so at least they're a little bit smoother and
because they rush
quicker
jobbed
and
it.
stuff.
They probably went to MU Paradise before they had it shut down and pulled down the first handful of fucking like the ISOs they could get.
But why not put games like Kalanoa on there, because that would still look okay. I know
It was a brilliant game on the system.
I know Symphony of the Night was on PS4, but
I think that's
a
also
different
a lot
market and everything.
But I think that's a lot of the problem. A lot of their heavy hitter PlayStation 1 games have just recently been re-released in HD.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get... No one's going to buy the PlayStation Classic for fucking Crash Bandicoot 1 and 2. That's just been released as a triple pack. No one's going to buy it for Spyro because that's just been re-released as a pack. Or is it being released? I can't remember now.
That's out now.
That's out now.
Sparkling and remastered.
I hope so.
And
Before
lovely.
for Christmas.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
there you go.
Only one is on the disc, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
But it's just... That is true that a lot of those games are better elsewhere now,
But they've missed it. They missed the boat.
Yeah.
They rushed it out for Christmas and they did a piss poor job of it.
Even
honestly, look, so you're going to go back to the thing, but if these people if you want a PlayStation 1 emulation experience that kicks the ever-loving shit out of because we've been doing this since the Raspberry Pi 1 back in 2012 or something like that. 2011. It was 2011, I think, when the Raspberry Pi 1 came out. That thing's been able to emulate PlayStation 1 games near flawlessly since then.
You go on my sister's husband, you would.
Which means
a lot of that stuff.
Which means you can buy because a Pi 1 is basically the same as a Pi 0. The Pi 0's a fucking $5, mate. A $5. £5 for the Pi. Get yourself a little £10 memory card. That's what, about 64 gigs now. You could just up until they shut down MU Paradise and all of the different ROM sites, you could literally just downloaded the ISOs. Popped them onto the Pi, they would have played 10 times better than anything on the Classic.
I would have cancelled it again if didn't have the same issue, but it looks really nice under the TV.
Yeah.
Same
From
as
what
the
I've
Super
heard, the
Nintendo.
control pads aren't bad, but
they're fine. They're like they used to be, but DualShock would have been handy for Ridge Racer type out. That game's still okay, Ridge Racer.
I remember that only having D-pad input anyway. But
I was quite late on. I think that was Rumble feature.
Or was it Gran Turismo? I always think
Probably the original, maybe the original Gran Turismo. Because Gran Turismo, I think, had it later on. Like it worked with it, but didn't come.
Oh right.
When you first got it, wouldn't necessarily have that. But Metal Gear looks fine, but it's weird without the Rumble because that was quite a big feature of that game. When you got, that would alert you to certain things. And they just look, obviously, like, switching between PAL and NTSC, like Core Borders 2, I haven't really played much, but that's like the PAL version, it's very slow. There's the front end, the design of it is all very, very cheap and basic. There's no real time or thought put into it.
Like I say, the Raspberry Pi, you honestly just download any of the emulation packages for the original Raspberry Pi, Pi Zero. The fucking Raspberry Pi Model A Plus has just been released with I think it's the Raspberry Pi 3's quad-core processor. So you've got an even smaller Pi board, not quite a Zero, but a small square board that could have easily gone in that PlayStation Classic that would have absolutely destroyed.
I've had a bad month actually for games. Fallout 76 and then this hasn't gone well.
Poor bastard.
Make
sure he's had to play it for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. Do not buy a PlayStation Classic, by the way, if anyone's on the fence about it. Do not do that.
It's a bit late now because it's just like before Christmas. So they've seen the oh no! That's my daughter's Christmas present.
I hope no one's watching who's bought that and then watch this because.
See, playing.
Final Fantasy 7, even that, the nice PC version's on PS4, so why get the slightly, blocky looking version?
Well, the thing, even though with that, the trouble is. PAL and NTSC, because I was talking to my mate about it before, so the PAL and NTSC issue is that the games run about 17-ish% slower, somewhere between 12 and 17%.
It's about 6 flow or so, isn't it? So because PAL NTSC
it's a 10 frame different.
Yeah, 60 as opposed to 50, so about 16% slow in theory.
Thereabouts.
Well, rounds up to 17.
Yeah. So there is a difference because obviously the games they didn't optimise back then. They could have made them run correctly, properly.
But why bother?
Yeah, like why bother? Just slow them down, crop them, job done, kind of thing. That was down to originally the excuse was it was down to our power grid running at 50 Hz, so our TVs were running at 50 Hz, even though we had the higher resolution. But they didn't optimise. The real reason why these games ran so much worse is because they didn't optimise. No matter what people say about our power grid and about our TV resolutions and refresh rates, it was optimisation. That was the problem. We've had these systems were on the market over fucking 20 years ago now. PAL and NTSC, no one remembers what it was like to play those games at those speeds because we've got emulation now and they'll run at 60 Hz. So why did they drag back the PAL versions of these systems? Why? Why is that even still a thing? No one knows. Look, there are people in the millennium who were born on the millennium. They're going to be 19 years old. They have no idea about the PAL NTSC issue.
No. So annoying, wasn't it? Like I remember a football game. My cousin had the Japanese version of it, and then I got it. I rented it, I think, for the UK version, and I was still a kid. It was so much slower, and I just thought it was way slower than I remembered. But
the thing is, we don't really remember it anymore, do we? We have it in our head that it was a bit slower, but we don't really click how much slower.
Or cropped, like Skazz 84, like the whole top was a black bar.
Yeah, because that's because we're running it. The game's basically displayed at 480p in a 576 window, so there was no information to put at the top or bottom. There were some games that were properly optimised for resolution and that. So if you put those cartridges in an NTSC system, they run too fast. Because they were actually properly optimised, but they were few and far between.
Yeah.
It wasn't a problem with hardware, it wasn't a problem with power, it was fucking sheer laziness.
At least the wires were long enough for controllers back then. That's total nonsense.
Just infuriating.
If you haven't already bought it for Christmas, don't go out and buy it now.
Because they fixed that problem
give it
by
to charity
PS2,
shop.
did they not?
PS2, like halfway through the sort of PS2 era, they started to get a lot better.
Because we had the option of running them at 50 or 60 Hz.
Yeah, they started to get a lot better.
Still not lag box in the PS2, there wasn't there?
Yeah, there was a few issues here and there.
But then that was mainly because the PS2 was mainly designed to output roughly 480i and 576 anyway, wasn't it? So
still probably one of the biggest jumps graphically, PS1 and PS2.
Yeah.
Between consoles, up there anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. The trouble is because I've been playing a lot of American games over the last 20 years. I don't remember what the fuck it was like to play a PAL game.
It's garbage.
I really don't remember. There are a handful that I remember, but even then, because I've probably been emulating them, they ran at a somewhat respectable speed at full screen. I mean, even playing on my original hardware upstairs, a lot of them are region modded, so that I can. My Super Nintendo, it's a PAL Super Nintendo, but it'll fill the fucking frame.
Even without that, the choice of games is bizarre. Like Tekken 3, you expect that like really good fight, but then also Battle Arena Descendant, which I liked as a kid, but why have that as well? And there's a whole bunch of puzzle games that no one remembers.
Yeah.
PS1 had like, I don't know, 1,500 games. Why choose those 20?
They rushed. They rushed and they were like, shit.
They should have taken their time to get the licenses and gone to the companies and gone to...
Sony had no issue getting those licenses. This was a cash grab and it was a rush.
They should have been able to get...
This was 1990s incompetence. Should we optimise? Nah. Fucking crush it, run it slower, that'll be fine.
Like Sony have a really good relationship now with a lot of like the people they had back then, so Gran Turismo wouldn't have been an issue to get that on there, and all, you know, so many games would have been, you know, Hogs of War, that should have been on there.
Yeah.
That was a good game.
I liked Hogs of War.
There's not enough more I can say than, you know, that no one's said it's any good, because like you say, it's just rush, cheap, bare minimum of effort, let's put it out there, people will buy it.
Mate, I could build you better. Keep the control pad, I could build you better for 30 quid with a Raspberry Pi and some parts.
I'll give you the thing, you can stick it in it.
Dude,
so it looks like a PS1.
There you go.
Yeah. So
Because there's a fucking joke.
I'll give you that and just stick it in that PS1. If you can
there you go.
In that thing and...
We'll gaff it together. You guys have a decent one. You guys have a decent system.
With actual good games.
Well, from what I've heard, the power supplies have been people have been plugging them into them smart kind of variable rate power supplies. You know, the ones with like smart, like Qualcomm Quick Charge and stuff like that. People have been plugging the PlayStations into those, and they've just been causing them to pop.
That's
They've
a weird
been
thing.
In too much power.
Yeah, that's rubbish. That USB into an adapter kind of thing.
That's interesting because it must be a voltage issue because you can't really. You can't really force amperage through something very easily.
If the circuitry ain't good,
no,
and it's not completing the handshake, and if, let's say the thing's only saying like, oh well, I'll only take 5 volts at 2 amps, and all of a sudden the charge is like right off the bat, I'm going to push out, I don't know, 9 volts 3 amps. You fucked it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, in fairness, the Nintendo Switch stuff does that. If you buy a cheap USB-C cable and it's not properly set up, if you plug it into a high output device and then plug it into a low output device, rather than reconfirming with a handshake what it needs, it just tries to dump the last highest amount it put out. So if you went and plugged in this USB-C cable into like a laptop, like a MacBook, a new MacBook or one of those Pixel tablets or whatever, it'll say, right, I want the full USB-C spec available, like, what is it, like 15 volts or whatever?
Something like that, yeah.
15 volts, 3 amps. Great, but then when you got to plug it into your 5 volts, 2 amp phone, it's like, oh, I'm not going to handshake it, just this is what I did last time, boom, there goes your phone. That wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if the same thing was happening to the PlayStation Classic. Wouldn't
get a Switch Plus next year, can't you? Switch Mega, whatever it's going to be called.
Now, can I have a little rant about that?
Super Switch.
Go on, have a rant.
The only reason, do not praise Nintendo for releasing a more powerful Nintendo Switch with revised hardware. The only reason they are releasing a revised hardware Switch... Well, hang on a minute. Wasn't there that really, really hardcore exploit? The hardware, like all the way down, hardware level, unpatchable. Was that issue where they could break open the Nintendo Switch to allow it to run anything? And any Switch on the market could be hacked, and there was nothing they could do. And the only way they'd be able to fix that was with a hardware revision. So why are we praising them for a revision now?
I'm not that big on that. I know I bought a Pro, but all that, mid-range kind of thing is a bit of a pain, really. But I bought a Pro, so I'm part of the problem.
Well, no, but like I say, they're not doing it to increase performance or make, because like the Nintendo have gone on record saying we want to keep it relevant. No,
what would it do
you're
different
trying
anyway?
To fix. No, they're not.
Just quicker loading or something?
No, they're not trying that.
No,
they're just trying to fix the
stop
security
it from being
hole.
hacked. Yeah.
That's it. There's no way they can patch the chip. There's nothing they can do software-wise to fix that chip. It's a hardware problem. It's a hardware level exploit. the only way they can fix it is to get rid of the chip. So that's why they're going to revise it. That's all. They're not doing it for us. They're doing it for their bottom line.
I've already had my 2 worst games of the year, so I'm covered on worst games.
There you go.
It's a hard call, but I'd still say Fallout 76 is worse than the PlayStation Classic.
Whoa!
I know, that is...
Good job, Bethesda. You've nailed it there.
I played a
Sony
few...
did 0 work and they still ranked higher than you.
I played a few kind of PlayStation Classic games and I just tried to turn it off, and this is going to be another plastic under my TV.
Just unplug it.
I've unplugged it already,
case.
so it's just sitting there.
It's just there.
It's just kind of looking pretty, but like regretful.
Well, mate, I've got a fully functioning PlayStation 1 upstairs if you want to have me on there.
There you go.
It'd be bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything else?
That's me done on that.
Well, I'm playing a couple of games, but they're both short games.
Okay.
The first one's a game called Consortium, which is a weird game. The idea premise behind it is that you, the player, as in you, the player, are somehow being, through the magic of this computer game, being actually taking control of somebody in the future. So you're not playing a game where you play someone in the future, you, the player, are actually taking control of them, apparently.
Okay.
That's a weird design premise. It's like, this is a lot of, you've created a lot of lore here, just for the sake of making a game where you play someone in the future. But you play this character on this set in early 2046, where the future world, mankind's pretty much solved all the problems. You know, we've solved global warming, we've solved it. So it's
solved Bethesda's shitty releases.
Todd has been arrested and tried for war crimes, and we've solved it all.
Oh, nice.
But there's still unrest in the world, because it always is.
No, we haven't solved it.
We'll solve all the major ones, like climate change and so forth. All the big things.
Starbucks price gouging everything.
Yeah.
We built a wall.
And you're part of this futuristic police force called the Consortium. And you basically are, the police force. And it's based on like a chess ranking structure. So like the low level, basic, enlisted people are just called pawns. Which must be really good for their self-confidence. There have
been films that have done that, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's on. I'll tell you which one. You then have the rooks, who are I would say, it looks to be sort of more specialist people. So you might have a rook who's in charge of the engineering. They're like the officer, the first step of being an officer. There's a rook who's a pilot and so forth. You then have the bishops, which is what you play, and you're like the soldiers.
Right.
You then have the knights who are in charge, and there's above them there's a queen, there's a king, and you play Bishop 6, and you've been assigned to this, and it's pretty much the entire game pretty much takes place on this futuristic plane. It's a first person sort of talkie game. It's a bit like walking through a slash with lots of talking. It's all about character interaction. So you're set on this futuristic plane. And you have to basically, and shortly after you arrive on the plane, you're being flown to Ireland. It's a big plane. It's like sort of size of, say, a Boeing 747 type plane. It's not like a little plane. It's a big plane. You can wander around it. It's quite actually, you wander around the whole ship basically and go all different areas and so forth, and access the avionics, copy, and all that sort of stuff. And you're going to Ireland, and you're flying through Bulgaria. And basically these planes in Bulgaria, there's this sort of local warlord chap who's got planes on. He's basically he likes to escort the plane. He can't actually hurt you. His planes are nowhere near. They're flying outdated and ancient F-35s. They can't actually outdo you. They can't actually hurt you. At least you think they can't. And these basically, but he sort of likes to rattle his sabre at you every time you fly through his airspace. He likes to sort of escort you through. But not long after you on board this plane, a murder happens. Someone gets killed. And you basically have to start trying to work out, and you basically get instructed by the knight, the person in charge of the aircraft, to try and find the murderer. So it's sort of a murder mystery, and you have to try and sort of piece together and work out who the traitor is. And it's basically a lot of sort of talking and dialogue, and it's got, it starts off, you've got this. It's a very bizarre game because you get a feeling they wanted to make a bigger game but couldn't. So like there's a virtual training you go into where you get to have a go at the weapons and so forth, which shows you how the weapons work. There's probably like one actual combat sequence in total the entire game, which takes about 5 minutes to complete, and the rest of it's all done through the virtual trainer, which you have to do. So it's really weirdly done. It just gets to fit, and you've got all this like information on how your weapons work and how you sort of have to manage your inventory and how you have to manage your armor and so forth. It's really in depth, but you get a feeling it's like they wanted to make this game bigger than it was, and they couldn't.
Right.
It almost feels like they wanted to make almost like a Deus Ex style game, which will grow pop from place to place to place to place, and you're dealing with it. So, and it's all about sort of like all the characters are like will have alignment changes based on what you say to them and so forth. And when you go into dialogue, you'll get like a choice of 4 options, the usual stuff. You've seen it all before. Has got this now. This is something that annoys me about games like this is time dialogue choices, where you have like 30 seconds to make a choice. I always feel when I see that, I think, no, don't do that, because let me sort of think about it. Don't try because A, it never feels natural anyway, because someone says something to you, you then get the option of choice, and you've got like 30 seconds. Well, that's not natural anyway, that's not how conversations happen anyway. You don't wait 30 seconds every time you respond to somebody.
No.
I mean, the reality of it, it doesn't actually make any difference. You'll always have plenty of time to make a decision. I'm therefore against it. So you sort of talk to people, and you sort of like try and learn. If you say things they like, they obviously prefer you, and it's all about subterfuge happens on the plane. People are like sort of like groups wondering who's going on, who's the murderer. There's Rook 25 and Knight 15 that sort of like have butting heads over how they think they should deal with situations.
It was nobody. He had a peanut allergy.
No, he's a murderer. It's weird actually. It reminds me of Thunderbirds. I don't know why. It just reminds me of Thunderbirds, so I play it.
There wasn't a lot of murder in that show.
No, it wasn't. There was some murder as a murderer.
It's gruesome.
Yeah, it was quite gruesome. I always got the freaked out this bit where they rob a bank that's got some sort of backup where it explodes if you don't do anything, but they've got these robots that just like literally grab people and hold them. That fucking freaked me out as a child. And why have that as a security system? Who designed that security system? Anyway, so you basically work your way through, and over the course of 4 hours or so, you'll be talking to people and so forth and dialogue, and eventually you end the game, you jump out the plane, land on a tower, to basically start fighting your way through to rescue some hostages, and the game ends. And it's like, right, okay, that's a bit... Again, you feel like, they couldn't do the second environment. It feels like it feels a bit like my first Unity game. It feels like someone's built it, and they've tried to you can see what they're trying to do. It's a bit like Sniper Elite we talked about 2 weeks ago. They're trying to do something. You can see what they're trying. They've just not quite managed
just missing that key ingredient.
Yeah, I mean, it's got potential to be actually really quite good, but it just doesn't quite work.
It's no Orwell.
Yeah, no, definitely no Orwell. I feel that it's quite buggy. There's some bugs which actually limit. So, like, you get given this task to repair the faulty components in avionics, and you pick up all these chips to basically power supply chips, and basically you're just changing out old faulty boards with new boards, right? So you go up there, and some of the doors are open that says offline. You click on it, it says replace the chip, but you keep doing replace chips. Eventually, when it all goes, replace them all, it's just like, okay, it's online now, shuts down. You do it for all of those, and when I did it, nothing happened. The game didn't trigger that I'd finished it, and the just never completed. And which is effectively locked off a section of the progression where the story could progress, just locked off.
Yeah, I've had that happen quite a lot.
Yeah.
Fallout 76, where that bit in Crocodile D when he says, "That's not a knife, this is a knife." It's like, that's not a bug, this is a bug. And then show you Fallout 76.
I mean, it's not. It's a more of an annoying bug.
Yeah.
And also the intention is that you play through it several times and get all different dialogue options. So you've got the option of like at some point, character says, "You seem a bit strange. There's two minds of you because you're meant to be sort of like inhabiting this guy in the future." You have the option of saying, "Yes, because I'm actually from the past," and hello there, and you can actually sort of like try and convince him that you're from the past. I didn't go in that route. And you have to sort of like try and sort of. It does. One thing that's reasonably clever by is that they obviously all the other characters think you know what's going on, because obviously the real Bishop 6 who you've disinhabited does know what's going on, and on the background. So when you're talking to other characters, you've got to try and you can sort of have to try and sort of guess what you're saying and so forth.
So it's no Steins Gate either then?
No. You have to sort of guess what you want to say. You don't know. There is option to research it and so forth. And And there's actually some characters know you're not who you say you are, because there's one point later on where a guy asks you to say your name, and you don't know it, obviously, because you've just inhabited this guy randomly. You know you're called Bishop Six Conan, we don't know what your real name is, so you just guess. And all the characters go like, come on, why are you saying that? Don't be stupid, say your actual name, it's not a problem, just keep saying it. Like, I don't fucking know my own name. Yeah, it had some promise, but it just didn't sort of gel for me. I mean, they've now released a second one, because it's meant to be part of a trilogy. Yeah, and the second one, it only took them 4 years to make the second one. Yeah,
are you going to bother?
And if it goes really cheap in sale, I might do, but other than that, probably not. I mean, it was a okay for us. Also, I've actually realised that actually spending a lot of time talking to NPCs in games is actually not that enjoyable. It sounds something.
No kidding.
Well, it sounds like the idea of some sort of mission where you have to go and interview the crew and so forth sounds like my cup of tea. But actually, when you do it, it's like, oh, for God's sake, just get on with it. Just get on with it. Just like, okay, I don't want to listen to you. Just get on with it.
See, I don't think I could stomach that, especially in such a small environment. See, I like text adventures, and I like point and clicks and visual novels. Steins Gate as an example. Fucking gravy.
Yeah.
Nice progression. That sounds shite.
It isn't great, no. It isn't great. It is. I say it's all right. It's just not great. You can see what they wanted to do. They've tried really hard. Oh, there's some amusing bits. Nowhere near 476 bugs. There's this animation where the characters are using computer screens and so forth, and they sort of do this weird, start of a prey. They start randomly touching random things in front of them, like using a computer screen. But they'll just randomly do that whenever they're sitting in a chair. So you'll go in a room and there'll just be this person just randomly sort of like a mime artist sort of touching the air. Little things like that. It's like, you've got the idea, just, it just
they've
really
assigned some of the wrong actions to the wrong model.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, it just, I think it's not been that finely polished. I mean, it's interesting.
Like copy paste.
What I would say to you is, if you see it really cheap, you want to try something a little bit different. I mean, when I say cheap, I mean we're talking like £2 or £3 max. I would say give it a punt, but other than that, I wouldn't bother with it.
No, because I can think of at least 1 million better visual novels to play.
But it's different. It's something they've tried something. I don't mind someone trying something different, even if it's a failure.
Yeah, you say something different, but no.
It's not a visual novel. It's not like a visual novel style.
Well, no, it isn't. But I could probably think of at least 10 other games if I were to look at it.
Yes, fair. So they're trying. I see they're going for something. They're trying something different. So yeah, I'll go for it. The other one I'm playing, which is another one of my random shit strange games. Yes, you like this. Like yes, it's called Shelter.
Oh yeah.
And you play a badger. Right?
No, me and my mates have already established that badges are not real.
Well, this game's a fancy game then for you.
Don't you hate badgers being a farm?
No, I don't hate badgers. Bodger and Badger, classic.
Badgers are quite
hated that show.
Bodger and Badger. I hate that show.
Bodger and Badger are never far away apart.
How can you hate that show?
I hated it big time.
Well, the mashed potato is great.
Oh, that was all that show was, just mashed potato all the time.
Mashed potato. Now, admittedly, I'm not a huge fan of mashed potato, but I mean, lashings and lashings of butter, mate.
Yeah,
you'd like Badger then. He had like the butter in his. Oh, classic series that is. Hard hitting British drama that was.
I preferred edgier stuff like Chuckle Brothers and things like that.
I like Chuckle Brothers as well.
Yeah, Chuckle Brother now, but
too
soon.
It's now to me.
Yeah. Then he walks all the way around the table to you, back and forth.
Oh, have you seen Chuckle Brothers play Hitman? I'll show you that later. The other one's the Shelter. You play a badger, and you are a badger. You have 5 cubs, and basically it's a.
The more cows you infect your TV, the more.
No, there's no cows in it.
Ah.
But you are basically, it's like an escort mission where you have to escort.
Didn't they do that? Isn't there a second one?
Yeah, there is Shelter 2, and you have to escort your badger cub. Are they called cubs? Do badgers have cubs?
I think they're called bitches, aren't they?
No, they're not called bitches.
The fucking badgers, just go.
Yes, you have to escort your cubs to like a new set. So you have to leave. So and each level's like has a different sort of threat to it. So initially you're taught quite early on how to feed them, so you have to like grab food and feed them and so forth. Then you leave your set. So then you leave your set. And the first mission, obviously, levels trying to sort of get you the idea of how it works and teach you like there's like little signs that shows you how to attack other animals to kill, and you can like sort of like hunt and kill other animals and feed your cubs with them. They're bloody hungry, these cubs. Oh, they eat so much so quickly. But towards the end, there's like a weird sort of stealth segment. So the cubs follow you. They're not as fast as you. They'll follow you and they'll keep following no matter what. So you can run away and leave them behind. But they'll just keep marching towards you. But that's dangerous, obviously, because you're meant to be looking after these cubs. So the first bit I saw big threat I found was a bird of prey flying over an area. You just see its shadow, and you've got like undergrowth you can walk in, which it can't see you in. So you have to sort of like try and walk between bits of undergrowth to make your way across the zone to get to the other side. That was going quite well until I walked out and I mistimed it, and the bird of prey saw my cubs and swooped down and stole it, took it away. Now, interesting, one thing I do quite admire is that it's like, once that happens, it gets rid of the bird of prey. Or when the threats in the environment, once they've killed one of your cubs, they get rid of the threat.
Is it quite emotional when that happens?
More annoying. So you lose. I lost my first cub that way. It's like, oh, great, brilliant.
Better make another one.
Well, seriously, I don't know where my other half was, but he wasn't there, bastard. He's a band.
Deadbeat.
Yeah, he is. He's deadbeat. He's banned. He's behind child support payments. Trans. So the second level was at night, and so every level tries to do a different mechanic. Second level's at night. You've got like this zone of sight around you, and as long as it comes in that zone, you're safe, and that's as far as you can see as well. So you can sort of see the general outlines, but you can't see like food sources and stuff like that. And you have to sort of like, so you got to make it sort of quite slow. It's a bit like a reverse stealth game where you have the vision cone, or the vision radius, as opposed to something else. First of all, I ran too fast. I thought my cubs were following me, and I just walk out. I just hear this strange animal noise and a screech. I go running back, and I've only got 3 cubs now. I started with 5, so I've now lost 2. Then I'm carrying on, and one of my cubs just collapses because it's not eaten enough. And that's because I didn't realise, I thought I was just dropping food down. The nearest one will just grab it. And so you have to try and sort of somehow, with very bad controls, manoeuvre your badger to feed the correct cub so you all get a share of the food.
Such a bizarre game.
It is absolutely fucking bizarre. So the second cub then goes down, and so I need to find food. So I go running off trying to find food, not go too fast, and then I've literally found some food. I see this never screech. It's like, oh good. So now I'm down to 2 cubs. So I'm only on the second level, and I've lost 3 cubs so far. So I'm doing well. So I eventually get past the second level. So the third level, you're climbing up a mountain bit, and there's a hill, there's like a river, and every so often this big massive wave comes flying in the river, and you can see it's going to take out whatever's standing there. So you manage to sort of cross over most of the bits. And I think to myself, I've got 2 cubs now, this should be quite easy. I've only got to worry about 2 of them rather than 5. It's more manageable now. So get past, and there's a bit where you have to start walking up the lake itself. You can't cross it anymore, you have to walk up it. There's like little safe zones. So I start making way to each safe zone. They're timed just a way that you've just got enough time to get to each the next one. Well, I must have took a split second too long, and I'm getting there, and one cub follows me behind into it. The next cub, cub number 2, is a little bit behind, and the wave comes around, he just disappears, he gets washed down the river and killed. It's like, okay, I'm down to 1 now, well, this will be easy. So then I get to zone level 4. This time, I'm in a forest fire. There's smoke everywhere, all the bits of undergrowth I was hiding in are starting to catch fire.
Because they don't rake it.
Yeah, and badgers aren't fireproof.
Are they not?
No, they're not, strangely enough.
God damn.
So,
Learn something new every day.
yeah. And then, I managed to navigate my cub very
I
carefully.
don't believe it.
This cub's getting well fed, because obviously I'm finding enough food to feed 5 of them, but I've only got 1, so he's getting really well fed. So I think he's going.
Fat motherfucker can't move now.
Well, I won't have happened. That's what caused where it all went wrong. Because after I get through the fire bit, I then come across a bit of another bird of prey area, don't I? But this area's starting to catch fire as well, so I can't hang around. I've got to keep ahead of the fire. And at one point, what happens was, and this is actually sort of, I blame the cub. It's really my fault. Was it
Paladin 101. Don't take the blame yourself. Blame.
I was sort of like in the undergrowth, and I turned round. I actually pushed the cub out of the undergrowth, and the bird came down and struck him.
Off you go, Junior.
So now I'm down to me, and that's it. But I thought that's it. The game's end. But no, the game carries on. It's just you do by yourself now. So it's like it's like I'm a great mother. I've killed 5 of my cubs so far through my mismanagement.
Terrible neglect.
Yeah, terrible neglect. I'm waiting for CPS to turn up. So I then goes to the next level. The next level's like this automata area, and it's just me all by myself. I'm walking through. Thought, well, this is going to be fucking easy now because it's just me. What could go wrong? And I'm walking around, and I get to another bloody bird of prey. Now the bird of prey had been ignoring me all the other times. I've been walking out, it's not bothered me. Turns out when you're by yourself, it will still go for you as a badger. It comes down, fucking hits me with its talon, and then my badger decides to start reducing speed to a crawl. I was like, oh god, and I could see like spare terrain in front of me. I'm just crawling, and the bird prey comes out again and strikes me again. I'm just crawling away. It's like, I can make it. Comes out again, one more strike, boom, off it takes me, and I go fly off and get eaten.
Good.
And that's what happened in Shelter. And that was like, this point of the game, thought, fuck you, go, I'm not playing you anymore.
I probably would have done it after the first level, I think.
It was like...
Not a Game of the Year contender?
Oh no.
No.
It was interesting, but no, I will never play it again.
They can't all be Fallout 76, can they?
No, they can't, exactly.
No.
So, Skazz, what have you been playing the last 2 weeks?
Retro still, because you don't want to play.
No, you're on a new kick by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
I'd avoid new games in the moment.
Yeah, they're all trash.
Anything new.
I had this random groove because I've been rebuilding my games room, and we mentioned a while ago that I've been. Have I mentioned Where the Samurai on Rant yet?
I think you've gone to depth on it, but you have talked about it.
Well, I've been playing through the Way of the Samurai series. There are 4 games in the Way of the Samurai series, and the first 2 were released a million years ago on the PlayStation 2. In these games, you are plonked into a relatively small environment, given a limited amount of time, and you get to interact with other stuff in the environment to try and change the outcome of whatever the fuck is happening in said environment.
Oh yeah.
So
Why have you played them ever?
Way of the Samurai 1, you are, I can't remember what the place is called, is it Rikotsu Pass? I didn't realise it was based on actual events in history.
Oh, right.
But in Way of the Samurai 1, as you start, you go through the training mission. It will tell you that you are going to be going through this pass. You'll have 2 days to do what the hell ever it is you choose to do, and be done with it. You might not even make it through the 2 days because you might get killed. And that is very fucking likely in Way of the Samurai.
Is that really hard?
It can be.
Yeah.
It can be.
Ring a bell, that game.
I was just playing it recently for the story. When I was younger, in my teenage years, I used to play the game on the harder difficulties.
Right, yeah.
This time around, I'll admit, I scummed that I played it on normal because I just wanted to show people the story because I really enjoyed the story of Way of the Samurai.
Right.
So, it's imagine almost a Resident Evil style.
Like a minutia.
Yeah, kind of. So imagine that each screen has kind of a set-ish camera angle. You can spin the camera around, but it will always kind of have a set angle as you walk into the map.
Right.
Rikotsu Path is set into smaller zones. I mean, Rikotsu Pass is so fucking small, you can actually do your first playthrough in a few seconds.
Oh, okay. Oh,
okay,
right.
so you see it, just imagine a Resident Evil style, so you see it from outside your character, you move around the screen, square button to attack, X button to jump, you can sheath and unsheath your sword, circle button to interact with whatever is on the screen at the time, if the game tells you that you can interact with it, and yeah. As you enter the pass, your eyes are drawn to a bridge in front of you, and you're like, okay, I'm going to walk across the bridge. But here's the wonderful thing about Way of the Samurai. You don't have to. Just because the game has pointed you in that rough direction, you can completely ignore it. The pass will go on with or without you. Regardless of what you do, time goes on. You have 2 days to do what the fuck ever. That is it. Whether you're ready for it to end or not, it's gonna happen.
It's like Dead Rising.
Yeah, pretty much. You just have to get through it. So as I say, example, because I don't want to spoil the story for you. If you want to look up your Japanese history, Bukatsu Pass, look it up. It's a thing, right? And I've been playing these games for fucking decades, and I wasn't even aware of this thing. And I thought I was quite into Japanese history. This was quite a surprise to me. Okay. You enter the pass. Your eyes are pointed towards the bridge. Most gamers go towards the bridge. There's a guy with a couple of cronies chasing after a girl. He says, why are you disobeying me? Grabs her, throws her over his shoulder. She protests. You get a choice. You can threaten him. You can kind of take the piss out of him a bit. Or you can ask to join him. Or you can just draw your sword. Because they'll say, well, fuck, man, he's proper going to attack me. And then they will attack you. You might just walk past and do nothing. That's an option. Right? Depending on how you interact with the environment, things change in the story. The idea is there are 3 factions in the 4 factions technically in the past. You've got the Akadama clan, the Kuro family, and the people who live in the pass. The government's also there on the side, but they're you don't know unless you look around that the government are there until towards the end. The idea is to get the Akadama clan, the Kuro family, and the villagers to kind of team up to go up against the government. This is the last kind of hurrah of the samurais before the government stomps them out. Depending on how you interact with other characters in the game, you might not get anyone to do anything. You might just barely be able to escape with members of the Kuro family, maybe some members of the Akadama clan. You might team up with the civilians, and all, or you might all just get wiped out. You might choose to do as I shoot people at the start of the game. You might walk into the pass, bypass everything that goes on, and just leave. The option is to just leave. You can go without talking to a single character, walk straight through the pass within a few minutes. You could join the Kuro family, be a bit of a bully the people that live in the village, kill folks in the Akadama clan, and then get wiped out by the government. You could join the Akadama clan, try and take out the Kuro family, take their foundry, not have enough power to stand up to the government anyway, get wiped the fuck out. You could join the villagers, try and defend them from the warring factions, and then get crushed by the government as they come through, and you manage to escape as the Akadama clan and the Kuro family trying to do whatever. There's only 5 real endings to the game, but my fucking god is that story interesting. And the way that you go about interacting with each and every character in the game. I mean, it's quite in-depth for such a simple game. Each playthrough will last about 2 hours. Sword fighting's pretty neat. You can level up swords. So you can as you kill enemies, you pick up their swords. You can choose to take them to a forge, a blacksmith, and they will upgrade them, which will then give you higher strength stats, defense stats, health stats. Durability, your sword will break if you put it under too much stress. Your swords can be lost. If you die, let's say you've got a favourite, when you finish a run through, you get to keep the swords that you collected. You can only carry 3, but let's say you've got a favourite sword. As you use a sword, you learn skills, so you can learn new moves. Depending on how you interact with said sword, you'll learn new skills. If you like that sword and you complete a playthrough, you get to keep it and use it on your next run. If, for some random reason, you fuck up and get killed, goodbye, that sword is gone. If you're in a fight and you put it under too much stress and the sword snaps, it's gone. There's a kind of a side thing about going around collecting swords and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to go into a huge amount about the story and the people in it, because because that'll spoil it.
Yes.
That's kind of part of the fun, learning what makes all these characters tick, why they're there, how to manipulate them, because you can. You can choose to spare people, you can choose to have them killed, you can kill them yourself. It's very much up to you where the story goes, even though there are 5 kind of clear-cut, and then 6 if you include the joke ending of just leaving the pass. Fun.
Getting tired, Nick?
No?
Yeah.
Just a tad. Why the Samurai is a hard one to explain. Second one, more of the same, but you've got like a one-hit kill mechanic now. You can't just walk between areas now. You get plugged into a subsection of the map. Like, so I'm now in this village and I've gone to this area, and you walk out and it'll take you to a map, and then you pick the next area you go to. Where the Samurai was all connected and you had to walk through the area. Very, very small area. Like 4, 5, maybe 6 areas. That was it. Where the Samurai 2 upgrades it to like 10 different areas. Equally as interesting story. Easier to get the best ending in that one, I think. But cool. I haven't got to Way of the Samurai 3 or 4 yet, but I really do think that they're games that people need to try.
PS2, did you say?
Yes. You can get 3 and 4 on PC. They got remastered there on PS3. I never played 4, but they are fun games. I find it really hard to explain, but just know that they're samurai combat games with neat little RPG elements, neat storytelling elements. You decide where it goes. You are the tip. You are the extra weight to the balance of power. You decide where things go, if anywhere at all. And that's kind of neat. You can be a criminal, you can be a good guy, you can bully the villagers. You don't even have to talk. You can literally just sit there. At one point in the game, some guys come to trash the local village cafe or the little village restaurant, and I just chose to sat there. I just chose to sit there. The guys came in, they roughed up the people that were staying there. I didn't even fucking move. And they didn't give a shit.
Oh, poor cafe owners.
And then another time I went through it, I just pulled my sword as they walked in, and I fucking hacked them all to pieces. It's up to you. And depending on what events you do and don't see can affect where the story goes in the future. So that's a neat little one. I consider it kind of like an action visual novel almost.
Yeah, it sounds quite unique the way they've gone about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a series that has been left to kind of vanish in recent. The Way of the Samurai 3 has recently been released for PC. They started with 4 on PC. 3 has now come out. 1 and 2 have never seen a re-release other than on PSP, which is a shame. Fun games, love the music, decent graphics, gameplay is solid, story is solid. It's one of my favourite games on PlayStation 2, or one of my favourite series of all time.
Cool.
Overlooked, hard to explain, it's just a game that you have to try.
Cool. Well, that's it from games, so moving on, which means, for Skazz's purposes... Right, so, nothing in news or anything like this month, unless anyone's got any news or anything, nothing for TV before we move on? No? In that case, it comes to our annual event, Game of the Year. So, Skazz, what is your Game of the Year?
That's not difficult. Issei on Nintendo Switch.
Okay, were there any other contenders, or was it just that one?
No, Issei on Nintendo Switch. Pretty much every other game that's come out this year has been fucking trash. They've been awful. This has been a really, really bad year for games.
You mean so? PS4 wise, I've been very happy. Really? I think it's been a bad year.
Who was I was talking
It's possible
to?
that our, just sort of, if you're new, this is our Game of the Year, is what our Game of the Year is, not to say this year's game, it's our Game of the Year that we've played this year.
No,
this year.
I know it's this year, I know it's last year, but I'm saying it's not...
Well, no, I've got a game of the year that I've played this year, but I'll get to that after Issei.
Okay. But is still in there then.
My actual Game of the Year this year is Issei on Nintendo Switch. It originally came out, I think, 2016 on PlayStation 4. And then we got that might have came out in America in 2017.
I don't think you've ever mentioned E's game before. It's a bit weird, isn't it? A bit random.
Yeah, I know, it's like really out
Somebody throw
there.
it in there, but fair enough.
the Nintendo Switch version came out, I think it was June 28th this year, and I didn't play it immediately when it came out because I was playing through Shining Resonance Refrain. I played East first, I think. I put Shining Resonance on hold for that. East 8 is an amazing game.
I have been tempted. It's one of the best looking East games ever, isn't it?
Yes.
They're not like stunning looking games, are they? But
no, well, you got to think East is a series that started back in the 80s and the 2D sprite kind of generations of games, like the 8-bit era. But East games have always had...
This is the one with the shipwreck, isn't it?
There you go. Well, that's funny because, like I say, like we said in the last episode,
add-on, isn't it?
Yeah. Like fucking in East 1, depending on which version you play, there is no shipwreck. But if you play the Master System version, there is. You play the PC Engine CD version, there isn't. But in nearly every other East game, if Adol gets on a boat, you get the fuck off
the boat. Yeah.
Adol was probably on the Titanic, goddammit.
I was going to say, wasn't one of the East games never went on the Titanic?
That's why the series ended, man. Look, that's when Adol died. You didn't get off that motherfucker. It's got a memorable cast of characters. Do I have to go over the story again?
No, we'll cover it.
I'd quite like to play it soon, so...
Mate, starts off, Adol's on a boat. It goes bad, as you would never have guessed.
Yeah.
The boat sinks, you wash up on an island, and you have to gather the survivors. It takes place just after Memories of Celceta, which was the Vita game, which was East 4?
This is a bit like Lost, the game.
Fuck Lost.
I need to say that.
But graphically, as you say, Falcom haven't been known for their 3D games. I mean, like East Celceta was pretty tight, but then that's a remake of East 4, which was a sprite-based game. East 6? Or no, maybe East 7 I think was very much in the East 8 style, but that was a... I'm going to say PS2 game or a PSP game. So, you know, they've never really had a big boy hardcore of this quality console release before.
If the gameplay and all that story are on point, the graphics you kind of forget about 5 minutes in anyway.
It's really good.
The rest is on point.
Combat is solid. The music is amazing. The characters look good. Even the voice acting's pretty good, for fuck's sake. There's a character in it called Sahad that I almost cry laughing every time he opens his mouth. Childish motherfucker, sailor, foul mouth, dick and fart jokes everywhere.
I was just saying, is it that game I remembered? Is it the combat a little bit like Xenoblade? You know, where you don't necessarily control what's happening in the combat.
No. You run in and you are spamming that button like a madman.
Right. Yeah.
Xenoblade was trash.
The latest one, you mean? Yeah.
Yes. Well, even I've gone back and played Xenoblade 1, or I've tried to many a time. I can't do it. I don't understand how it got so much praise. It's not.
So combat's not really like that then.
No.
I am quite intrigued to get that East game.
If you want to try it at some point, well, because I've got a digital version on the Switch, I'll just load up a guest account at some point and you can have a crack at it next time you come around. It's a really, really fun game. Falcom have done a cracking job with this one. Even on the Switch running at 30 FPS, it's fucking phenomenal. The PC port wasn't ideal from what I hear, but the PS4 version runs smooth as can be. It looks good, it plays good, it sounds good.
Nice.
It's my game of the year. It stomped all over Monster Hunter World, which was a fucking disappointment to me. Even the Monster Hunter game on Switch was turd. I mean, it weren't bad, but it just wasn't great. There weren't that many good games out for me this year. A lot of the games, as I say...
For me they were, but for you and the way you... Yeah.
Well, I was talking to a mate today who come round, and he's a big fan of PS4 games, and he listed off all the big games for PlayStation 4 that he's bought, and I was like, you know what, mate? If they're the big launches for PS4, I'm not interested in any of them. And he listed
for me,
God of War, Spider-Man, Just Cause. I was like, I don't care.
Except Just Cause, I'm a big fan of all those games. So for me, maybe it's just... console mentality, those kind of games appeal to console owners, don't they? I know you do dip into consoles quite a bit, but I think just for me that's the kind of games I always really enjoy, you know.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think that those are bad titles, just I've never really gotten into the God of War series.
You wouldn't like my game of the year then.
Just cause... Well, I understand it, because when you brought it round that time for the 24-hour podcast, it looked good, it seemed like it was kind of fun to play, but I've never really been interested in Kratos as a character.
He is so much more likeable in this. No, he's completely different. I understand before there was barely no character. He just go around hitting everything. There was no character to him, but they have done a lot of work to make him a lot more likeable. Not this, a little bit more reliable with him being a dad, but a lot more likeable than in the past.
Yeah,
definitely.
For sure.
I can understand your grievances with him before now.
I mean, like, and even Spider-Man. I like Spider-Man, but I just can't be asked to play another Spider-Man game. There's been like a million of them.
So many of them were bad now, other than Spider-Man 2. This one, I'm a big Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Probably like yourself, but I really did enjoy this one because the swinging was just so much fun. Just doing that was worth it.
Well, I used to do that in all the Spider-Man games. The web swing was kind of the
This is the best one though since Spider-Man 2. You know, with the momentum and the the proper physics of where the web should go. And
I'm kind of bad for my opinion of my favourite Spider-Man game. It's either Spider-Man 1 on PlayStation 1 or
classic
the Spider-Man movie game.
Which
has horrible web swinging mechanic.
But they just go anywhere, don't they? They don't.
Yeah, they
connect
just stick up to the
clouds.
Oh yeah, look mate, I'm web swinging off of a cloud.
Yeah.
But do you want to know why?
I'm very intrigued to know why. Yeah.
Fucking Green Goblin's an unlockable character at the end of it.
Oh.
Fuck yes.
What, playable wise?
Yeah. You can play through the entire game as the Green Goblin. Fucking hilarious. Because you just gun down people. That's great.
The original PS1 game's great, especially when you meet Mysterio second or third time and he's got a fish in the bowl of his head, you know.
Good game. But yeah,
Ease 8 then.
Ease 8, it was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Give that a good consideration.
Probably like $20 on PS4.
Yeah.
Probably about $20 on PS4.
Okay. Middlemestier.
This one was quite tough. I did back and forth, but it has to be God of War. Simply because the game, like when you go through the game generally, just going from area to area, there's always fun stuff to do with it. But every once in a while, there's moments in that game that just unbelievable. There's like a dragon in it that you sort of fight, and he's absolutely enormous. But it's not just like hit close, hit him a bunch of times. It's not just quick times. There's ways you take on the baddie that are just really inventive, and they keep doing that. They keep coming up with massive, enormous, stunning-looking enemies, and it's not just like jump on, fight. The battles all come in different stages, and there's a fight at the very early part of the game where you fight like this unkillable guy. He's like completely invincible, and the fight just goes on for ages and ages. There's one bit where you throw a giant rock on top of him, and he just lifts the rock up and throws it, and then you.
Is that the scrawny looking guy?
Yeah, and because the game has one camera, the game is like one continuous shot from start to finish. The camera never cuts away ever. The whole thing. So you get thrown over your house, and the camera follows you. You're kind of going into the house, through the roof into the basement.
It looks spectacular.
Yeah, you then run out of the house, go through the door, come after him again, fight him till he's limited again. You rip a tree out of the ground, smack him with the tree off a cliff.
It's what action movies wish they could look like.
Exactly, yeah. If they had completely unlimited budget and the tech to do it.
Let's be honest. Could you imagine a one-shot film looking like that? No. My God.
You go down a ravine and you palm him down there, and then you throw another massive, enormous half of a cliff on top of him, and then you just sort of think that's got to. Yeah, he's got to be dead by now. And then later on in the game, you hear him talk, and you're gonna have to fight him again. There's a tree of all knowledge that, there's a guy that's been trapped into this tree, and he's been imprisoned there by God, and he's going completely insane. You go to a witch's house, which is probably the best looking part of the game, and it's amazing, and she's kind of helpful, has you do a few bits of tasks. The missions aren't just go here, fetch quests, they're massive endeavours. And you go to all these different realms, you go to the ones seen in films like 4, Jotunheim, and all these different dimensions and realms within mythology, and there's all different things to do in there. There's dragons, giants, minotaurs, krakens, giant sea serpents, some of these things are friendly that you don't fight, rather than just killing everything you see.
Yeah.
Part of the game is semi-open world, where you go around. If you watch our 24-hour stream on Twitch, there's like a...
YouTube
now, yeah. And you go on a road, you get like a rowboat that you can go around and dock to different parts, and then that will take you on a new, sometimes a side mission or the main quest. And it looks, like you said, it looks amazing as well. One of the best looking games like ever seen on a console. It's all very nice and sort of 4K and HDR. All fancy.
Honestly, I'd rate that highly enough to say that it's probably one of the better looking games I've seen. Full stop.
Yeah, that is absolutely stunning. It's amazing what they get out of those consoles towards the end of their life. Really quite like same with Red Dead Redemption. It's amazing what they can get out of those things when they had the tech long enough to understand it all, and they do get a lot out of it.
They optimise the fuck out of it, and it makes you wonder why don't they do this with more games?
Yeah.
Because if they're capable of doing that with a PS4, fuck me.
Yeah.
We should be playing games in 8K by now if they were properly optimised.
I guess the only way to make money is to make them for all formats when they do that, so they kind of, scale down and up and things. But it is really, unbelievable. And there's a lot, it's not just like a gruel, there's fun, there's little puzzles to do, all these different environments. Sometimes it's nice and bright and lush and colourful, other times it's very dark and moody, but everything like the lighting and all that kind of helps with the atmosphere. Great sound design, you really atmospheric, great sort of music when it comes in. It's very, orchestral and deep voices.
Yeah.
Very kind of fast paced. There's not really I think they make 30 hours or so, 25, 30. There's never really parts that sag or, like pointless. You go into like a bit where it's just really entertaining. Puzzles are quite tricky. They're not like really simple push a block kind of stuff, and it's just really, really epic. Like every once in a while you get to a scene or a moment that really is above anything that I've seen in another game before.
Yeah.
I think the reason it beat Red Dead for me is just because there are bits in this game that I've never really seen before in anything, and that just ups the ante, and it's like really like playing, like I say, a movie that could never be made.
Yeah.
Certainly not these days. And the whole one-shot thing is very... If you played the game 30 hours straight, that would just be that one thing. You'd never, ever...
One continuous shot, never see the camera cut away.
Just behind a thing, and, even if it's not focused on you, that'll cut away from somewhere, but it'll be the whole loop of that shot. I won't ever... But that's really inventive, that is. I know I won Game of the Year and stuff last night, but it's really...
You mean 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, and 2 weeks from 1 day ago.
Wonderful losing track of time.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that has to be my game of the year, purely because...
Were there any other contenders?
Red Dead was very, very close.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man was quite close. That was a lot of fun. That was like
Not
really
near?
good. That was last year, and I wanted to keep it to each year. And there was one other game that was, there was good game. It was a good game for year for PS4. And if you're into the sort of games I was into.
The other reason PS4 got a bit of a kicking from me is because mine fucked up during the Monster Hunter launch back in February. So I had a lackluster game with a system that just kept on, like you said with the last game you were playing, just kept on crashing. No reason. Fucking like Fallout 76 is a Bethesda game. I expect it to crash in 15 seconds. But Monster Hunter, at least for me, I mean, I was playing with other people, it barely crashed at all. For me, it crashed nearly every other hunt, so it spoiled it for me. At that point, I have barely touched my play. I formatted it, low level, fresh firmware installed, fresh hard drive.
You went in safe mode and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, the whole thing was white bone dry. Hard drive was stripped out, fresh firmware, the lot. Lost loads of my saves. I've refused to pay for PlayStation Plus now. The thing's basically a fucking paperweight. Yeah. Sony can take away all my digital games. I don't care.
That's a shame.
It ruined the console for me. Really ruined it for me. So a lot of the games that probably could have been contenders for Game of the Year,
you missed out on them.
Then fuck them.
I think you probably would have liked God of War based on this one, based on some of the games you've mentioned today. Even
I could have probably gone back and gotten into the series, to be honest.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not a hard series to collect for, is it, in the grand scheme?
No, there's lots of collections and stuff.
Did it not start on PS2 anyway?
Yeah.
PS2 and PSP.
Yeah, but it was, this took the whole thing another level now.
Yeah, I could probably go back and play the entire series quite easily.
Yeah. This is the pinnacle now. I think because Kratos is so much more enjoyable and the whole father-son thing actually feels good. And these days, that whole having another person with your companion kind of thing does, ever since Bioshock Infinite, I think they've figured out how to do a companion well. Whatever problems that game may have.
Make a companion actually useful.
Yeah, whatever problems that game may have for people, that part of it is, works. It's not. She's not an irritation. They don't get in the way. He's helpful. And you can even control him a little bit with his arrow shots and other little bit moments. But massively highly rated. I can't wait for whatever they do with the PS5 version, I guess. Yeah, for my game of the year.
Excellent. Well, my game of the year this year is RimWorld.
I wonder what yours would be. Which was that one then?
That was the one where it's a colony ship that crashes.
That's it.
And you basically have to build up a colony from scratch with spare resources.
The one where you had members of your crew go completely mental.
And with a gun, had to sort of be subdued and battered and then sort of put in the bed so
the
they
woman
felt
that
better.
went clinically insane.
Yeah, and then there was a thunderstorm. The whole half my colony burnt down, and someone stole my Marine soldiers stole him, and I never found him again.
That did interest me, I must admit. That did intrigue me, that one.
It's on the Linux port, isn't it?
Yeah, it got released. It got properly. I played in early access. It's now been released, alpha released about 3-4 weeks ago.
Oh right.
Yeah, it's fairly recent release. But I like games that generate stories, and it's generate stories not pre-written, but
almost
like
organically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
This is
dynamic.
Exactly. This game generates stories. I mean, all the stuff I told you about was something that just happened to me. And
so if I play it through, I probably won't have a crazy woman that's.
But the mechanics are there, obviously, but it's because there's so many complications of how that occurs.
Sure. Well, because I might be paying more attention to what she's doing or whatever, and so whatever.
That might frustrate me. That's the only thing. That kind of game, I can get quite easily frustrated.
There's so many things.
With all things going on. And stuff.
It's a game where you can pause it.
Yeah.
It's a game where you are sort of initially early on, or if you have a really big setback, is like, how the hell am I going to solve this? Because like my store burnt down with all my food. I had food like
made of wood, wasn't it? Something?
I made it out of wood. That was a mistake because wood apparently burns.
How are you meant to know that?
Well, apparently
that's a hard learning curve.
So I made it wood. It all burnt down. All my food was in there, which meant we were really starving. I had to kill one of my llamas.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah,
Did he have a name or something?
No, I didn't kill Nor, but
no. That's it, yeah.
I killed his mate. I killed
on edge then.
I killed Llama 3 was his name. Llama 3. Yeah, that was a horrific moment. I had my guy with a knife to just slaughter one of my llamas. So it was. I went actually through and I went on our blog post. I literally went through every game for I've talked about the last 26 episodes.
I think yours would be tricky. No way I could have guessed yours because so many indie games that you seem to like quite
close. Glad you didn't go Far Cry 5.
Far Cry 5 instantly lost its potential to be game. It would have been in contention.
It's the ending.
It's the ending completely.
I haven't finished the ending, but I've heard bad stuff about it.
It would have probably been my game of the year if not for the ending.
Have you seen the trailer for the new one?
No,
because he said he's in it. So says.
All I say is that from the sounds of the trailer spoils the ending of Far Cry 5.
Yeah, because he says, "I thought this would be different. This isn't how I hoped it would be, Father."
Yes. Well, the other games I had saw potential was Tooth and Tail.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a good one. Did you
ever finish it?
No, I could never get through it. No, not good at it, but I enjoyed. I like the story. I like it was again. It's different.
Yeah.
It's not. If I'm a game source I encounter before, so I like that. The Swore of Mine.
Oh, there's a new complete edition of that on consoles.
Yeah. And Dishonored, Death the Outsider. I liked it, but it wasn't different. It had some interesting mechanics. But it was more of an expansion pack than a full-fledged game. So
didn't really do anything new with the.
Had a few new So New Universe, it did, yeah, it was definitely sort of it felt more like a what they used to call an expand-alone.
I think it was a semi kind of that, wasn't it? Like cut price release.
So that's what sort of knocked it out for me. But yeah, RimWorld was my game of the year.
No.
Oh, good.
That seemed like a good choice. That was one of the ones I think I would have enjoyed from the ones you've talked about.
I put my list up and I very quickly eliminated about 3/4. I got down to about 12, 15 titles, and I sort of gradually knocked them down.
There's 2 Point in the contention.
2 Point was in there, but I knocked that.
Hospital.
Yeah, that was in there, but I was like, that just didn't generate the stories that RimWorld did.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, but I sort of drifted off it quite quickly.
Was it quite advanced graphically, RimWorld, or quite?
No, it's 2D graphics.
Yeah.
But it's styled in such a way that you wouldn't really worry about it. If you've ever seen Prison Architect, very similar art style.
Got it, yeah.
And it plays very. It's clearly been inspired by Prison Architect quite heavily. It works very similarly. But then Prison Architect is another example of a great game. If you want to play a strategy game, it's another great example of a game.
One game that was not a contender for me, but I really love. Anyone that likes strategy games who's got a Switch, get Civilization 6 because they're brilliant on there.
Yeah,
it's not like Civ Mobile or anything. It's like full game pretty much. They haven't like shoehorned the mobile. It's like the fully fledged Civ 6.
They actually fully released that on Switch.
Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant if you like that kind of game. Don't think it's going to be the Switch version. It's going to be cut down or anything.
Is the full thing on the card, or is that a digital download?
I downloaded it, but you can buy.
Is it a big download?
I haven't even got an SD card that fit, and that's including a few other games. So yeah, that's massively highly recommended for anyone that likes that kind of strategy game.
Does the multiplayer work around it?
It's not. I don't think it's full online. I think it's local or something.
Which is fair.
That's if anyone likes strategy games. That's also a highly recommended game. Just before I forget, until next year,
Awesome. Well, that's only a couple of weeks' time, isn't it? So
yeah, but just in case anyone wants to get ahead of the holiday season, but thinks, just before Christmas or next year,
2 days to buy.
If you don't want to get it for New Year or something, that's definitely don't be put off by it being the Switch and thinking it's going to be Civ Mobile or Civ Revolution 2 or something.
Well, then just say it's full fat Civ in your pocket, kind of like Doom on the Switch. Full fat Doom.
It's so much fun on the handheld. You can have for me, I have football on the background. Play.
Civ. They've patched you and fixed those audio issues.
I don't know, but that's not just Doom that I've had audio issues in.
Is that on Switch?
Yeah.
I've had issues with that. If you have it on surround mode and you play it through the TV, you have issues. If you switch it to stereo, it's fixed all the problems I've had in the past.
I'll have to look.
Because I had issues with Civ, where the voices weren't coming through, and like half of it was very in the background and wasn't coming through at all. I switched to stereo mode, and just try it, see if it does help. But
mine were more squealing, random, screechy. Oh my god, the audio's gone, and now it's making my ears bleed issues.
Try switching to stereo if you have it on surround, just to see, because that's what I did for Civ 6, and that fixed whatever the issue was.
I'll fiddle around with it. But a lot of games have had stuff like that, Ram. Loads of games on the Switch have done it, and it's fucking annoyed the piss out of me. But then
that fixed it for me.
I don't remember having any issues like that in East.
No.
That's all matters.
Another thumbs up for it then.
If they fucking ruined that soundtrack with random audio issues, I would have gone to Nintendo's headquarters and said, your hardware is fucked. Fix it now.
Do you think for episode 200 we could do best games ever?
We sort of have done.
You've probably done that now, haven't you? Yeah. Mine would be
we
Super
did
Mario.
we did best one of them, sort of we did best PC games of the late 90s, early 2000s. Didn't we?
Yeah, because we got to...
That was a 3.5 hour podcast, that was.
Christ, let's not start that now then.
No. Right then, anything for anybody else?
Nope.
Alright, so that will bring our Christmas rush to an end. We hope you all have a very Merry Christmas.
It's interesting how we didn't mention any of the games of the year, of games that we've played this year for the first time. We've just gone straight for Game of the Year and then that's it.
Yeah, I mean for me, it's like I've played a lot more new games this year.
Sure.
I mean, RimWorld, if you go, although it got its alpha, it came out of early access 4 weeks ago. It technically got released last year in early access, so I suppose you could argue that, but that's all fixed.
Yeah, but then you could say the same thing for East 8. It came out in 2016, but I only recently got it in 2018 because it only recently came out on my platform of choice.
But it's interesting because you normally end up playing a game like 5 or 6 years old. So, but yeah, so We all
or
have...
end up picking a Hope Dimension Neptunia game,
Yeah.
or a Boobage game, or
They're all very different games, aren't they? They're very different.
Wasn't
our
your
choices.
game last year Galgun?
yeah,
Yeah,
sure
of course,
are.
yeah.
I don't think I picked one last year because I wasn't here for the Christmas one.
No.
I can't remember anything that happened last year. So.
Well, there we are. So, very much watching. We hope you have a lovely Christmas in a couple of days' time. We will in a couple of days' time. We're all set up. We've all starved ourselves, ready for the turkey.
Yeah,
well,
ready for my turkey.
Yeah, ready for turkey, ready for everything. Like
Christmas in this house is gonna suck. Feel sorry for me.
No Dr. Who on Christmas Day now.
That's
I know
weird,
I know the final episode is like
It's
3 days before Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Maybe, I wonder if it's either because it's like 3 days
Episode
before.
10 was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a good one. Watch that one.
Yeah, episode 10 was really good.
That was crap, that one. Jesus.
Yeah,
I hate
absolutely. Why did they do that? Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I'll catch that.
Yeah, that's fine. I know I did it a bit quick.
I'll sort that edit out. That's all right. I can.
I did it a
What
bit
you'll do
quick.
is
Quick
I'll
fade to black.
turn out-
Sorted it out.
I know.
Turn out it's a
little-
really controversial episode, and so just to be a dick, you put in the reverse of what everyone
Yeah.
else thinks. Right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. It's like, yeah. So, but thank you much for watching. We'll see you in a food. We'll see you in the new year.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay!
I've been Merry Middlemeister.
And I'm TheSuffolkRam. And he's been.
Skazz.
Bye! Oh, look at it turning red. Isn't that lovely?
I hate Christmas.
No, you don't. When you're there with your family, you love it.
Oh no, mate, it's miserable.
You love it.
It's fucking miserable in my house.
Just do what I do. If you bit the old JD and Coke, that helps.
Oh, I wish I was after 2 fucking
Now, you
years.
see, luckily, a few years ago, me and my extended family all fell out. And they haven't talked to us really since, apart from when we've had to meet up for like funerals or we worn into each other in the shops. And then we sort of like exchange pleasantries and move on. So luckily, we don't have any family to worry about at Christmas time. It works brilliantly.
Oh, I'm so happy for your broken family.
It's great.
No, I fucking hate Christmas.
Oh, I love
There's
Christmas.
always